Hey, welcome everybody to the Build Junkies channel. Today we're going to take a look at one of my favorite builds to run, which is the explosive build, or as I like to call it, the build. A shout out to El Freelejito84 for helping me make this video. He's one of our clan lieutenants. You've seen him in a couple of videos so far. This build is, like I said, super fun to use. I will apologize up front. We made this video when it was pretty early in the morning. I don't think either one of us had a full cup of coffee in us, so my aim is a little off. But when I'm on it, this build can just throw down some serious damage. The second downside to what you're seeing right now is when the expertise system came out a while back, I was going through my stash and trying to clean out pieces to donate, and I accidentally donated a couple pieces that I had set for this build. So I had to go back and try to find the pieces again, which farming for this particular build is not an easy one to do because of the attributes that you need to have on the pieces. So I apologize. Normally this would be sitting at a 6 tier, but currently with me using the capacitor and not my car TDI custom, I'm only firing this off at a 5 tier yellow build. But as you can see, with a 5 tier yellow build, I'm still throwing down quite a bit of damage with my seekers and my mortar. So you can imagine with a 6 tier what it's going to do. And I probably will do a revisiting video once I have the build back at 100%. But I really wanted to show you guys basically the setup for it so that you had the template to work off of and be able to put the build together for yourselves. So as you can see, we can easily put down 4 to 6 million damage with the current setup with the mortar strikes, and I'm putting around, depending on how the clusters land, 2 to 4 million per cluster. This build is also great because you can change it up and run it so many different ways. You can run it with a sticky explosive versus the clusters. You can run it with shrap traps. You can run it with the regular seeker mine. There's so many ways. If it's got an explosive attribute to it, this is going to amplify. And I've actually used this build in the dark zone. I've taken the mortars off and I've put the clusters or the seeker and the sticky on and used it in the dark zone. I've made some rogue agents' lives pretty miserable that way. So it's a great build for both. Obviously, you're very squishy. This is going to depend on the glass cannon talent, so your armor can go away very fast. So you have to pay attention to your surroundings. And know what's going on around you at all times, especially if you're going to run in the dark zone. But it does work in both aspects. We've ran this in Legendary. I've ran this in Legendary Summit before when I had the build at 100%, and I just absolutely annihilated it in the Summit. So it's definitely a great build to try out, especially if you want to get into the explosives. Right now we're just lobbing them over there, and I tell you a couple secrets I learned about this build when you're playing in groups. One is if you aim down the sights of your weapon, you can get a much more accurate area of where your mortar is going to land. Most people know that by now, but I figured I'd throw that in there. The second one is if you're running in a group with people like I am right now with my LT, he's got a build on where he's got to be up close and personal. You don't always have to land the shots on the enemies. In fact, you can aim at your fellow teammates, because obviously you're not going to do any damage to them with friendly fire not being an option. But they're going to be on top of the enemies anyway. So you see them down there on the ground, they're out there doing their thing. Start landing shots on top of them, because you're going to hit the enemies that way as well. You've got a big enough area of effect with your mortar that you're going to be able to hit them if they're on top of them. So, little piece of advice on how you can run these builds. And like I said earlier, my aiming is not good right now. Probably ought to not do serious aiming videos when I just woke up in the morning. Oh, see, there you go. Prime example, not paying attention to my surroundings. I had one sneak up on me. And it just took one shot to almost drop me. I mean, that perfect glass cannon that I have on this build is absolutely brutal when it comes to taking damage. We only got one left out there. We're going to give him a headache with a mortar. Boom. Alright, let's get into the build breakdown. So my mask I'm running right now is a China Light with skill damage and skill haste on it. My backpack is a Handy U crash bag with skill damage and skill haste on it with a skill haste mod. I'm sorry, status effect. Skill damage on it with a skill haste mod. The status effect will help your bleed value off your mortar. One of the niche pieces here is the sacrifice that I got with skill damage and skill haste as secondary attributes. Hard to find that one, but man, what a great piece to amplify your damage. Obviously, we're going to be running the waveform holster because it's a skill build and we want to amplify our skill damage that way. And then the two Grupo pieces are also the hard ones, and those are the ones that I accidentally destroyed, and that's what my gloves and knee pads are. But you want to try to find a Grupo piece with skill damage at a minimum as one of your attributes if you can't find one with haste as well. So that you can re-roll your primary attribute over to a skill tier, and that gives you your 6 skill tiers. Obviously, our specialization, because this is explosive, is going to be the Demolitionist. And like I said earlier, in this particular iteration, we were running the Mortar and the Cluster Seeker Mines. So I really hope you guys enjoyed the build. Please go out and try this one. It is so fun to use. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell for future videos, and we really appreciate your support, and we also appreciate any comments that you're willing to give us. Thanks.